drivers Hornaday, Sprague, and Bliss all battle for the Odessa half-mile checkers. But can anyone catch back-to-back winner Rich Bickle? For a NASCAR Craftsman Truck half-mile brawl in the Western Auto Parts America 200 next. NASCAR has come to America's heartland today, live from the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, the 7th race of the 1997 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series schedule. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Welcome to Odessa, Missouri. Hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. I know I am certainly. Heck, I'm at a racetrack. That's point number one, surrounded by two fellas, Buddy Baker and Bill Venturini, both of whom have run here in the past. And Buddy Baker, you know that sure, this is a half-mile track with high banks, but this one can really grab you.
In a minute, it can get you in a lot of trouble. Discipline is the whole deal of getting around this racetrack. If you ever touch anybody, you can see right there, Jack Sprague got into Bob Keselowski, turning over several times there. The day is over for this truck this week. Maybe he won't have that happen.
But let's take a closer look at that 28 degrees of banking, Bill Venturini. It makes it look awfully attractive for a driver.
Oh, the corners here are very inviting, but very deceiving. The driver gets in his truck, goes into the corner, thinks he can drive in a lot deeper than he should. He gets into the corner, the truck actually pushes up a half a lane. That opens the door for the guy behind you to make the pass.
Now, this is only the third time that the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has run here at Odessa, but this is certainly not foreign territory to many of the drivers. This track has hosted American Speed Association races in the past. The NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series runs here. So you've got folks like Jay Sauter and Butch Miller and Tony Raines and Tammy Jo Kirk who are very familiar with this racetrack, albeit not necessarily in a truck. But Glenn Jarrett, with all of that said, I believe still the pre-race favorite has to be the guy who's won the last two races in a row and is on the Busch pole today, Rich Bickle.
Oh, absolutely, Eli. No question about it. Richie Bickle is the hottest guy in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Those two wins have vaulted him to the top of the NASCAR Craftsman Point Series standings. Rich, new track record. You got him chasing you again this week.
Well, I'll tell you what, this year's Diehard Chevrolet, we unloaded a Hickory 4 weeks ago, and I mean, it was awesome. And we set 3 track records in a row, won 2 races, and got a shot at winning today. So, all I can say is thanks, Daryl and everybody there, and all the guys at the shop done a great job. And say hi to my dad back home in Wisconsin, everybody back there. And now we'll try to do it number 3, try to get the number 3rd run.
Well, best of luck to you, man. He not only drives fast, he talks fast too, Eli.
He does just that. One of 32 trucks on hand here at I-70 Speedway today. As soon as we come back, the starting lineup, and it's all yours here on TNN Motorsports. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Western Auto Parts America 200 is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. By Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. And by the United States Armed Forces. Make it happen. Call 1-800-893-LEAD. Welcome back, everybody. We are live with you here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, the Western Auto Parts America 200. And now let's check out the AutoZone prep for today's race, brought to you by the more than 1,550 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. 101 laps, the first segment, only 108.6 miles. Mike Bliss, the winner here a year ago. Remember what did he do, the worm? Was that the name of the dance he did last
That's
year?
That's exactly
buddy?
Right. And Barry Dotson said if they win again, he'll do it with him this time.
Let's take a look at the starting grid for today's race. 3rd straight pole for Rich Bickle. fifth series start for Tony Raines, the Phoenix winner Jack Sprague, and a man who has 2 top 6 finishes here, Rick Corelli. Former Trans Am standout Boris Said III, and Ricky Crawford, who was 8th at Portland. You've got Tony Roper joining Kenny Irwin, who is the leading Cintas Rookie of the Year. That's in row number 4. Row number 5 has ASA regular Rick Beebe joining Jimmy Hensley, who makes only his 2nd visit here. Chuck Bounds, Ford, and Tammy Jo Kirk had a great race at Portland. Bob Keselowski, top 6 finishes in the last 3 races, and Curtis Markham. Stacy Compton, 3rd in rookie points, and Brandon Butler. Mike Bliss, who won here a year ago, and Jay Sauter, who's now in the top 10 in points. Brian Reffner, rookie in 1996, took the top honors there, and Michael Dockin, who was 3rd a weekend ago in Evergreen Speedway. Terry Cook and Mike Cope is on hand. He's the 96 All-Pro Series champion. Kenny Allen and Lonnie Rush in 23rd and 24th spots. Toby Butler will go 25th. Former Winston West Series champion Doug George in 26th. Bill Sedgwick was 5th here a year ago. And Ron Hornaday, way back on the starting grid, 4th currently in points. Then Butch Miller, 5th in points. Joe Ruttman, 7th in points. Dave Rezendes, brand new daddy, celebrates with his wife Michelle, and Dan Kress in the Chevrolet wrapping up that 32 truck field. As soon as we come back, the green flag from one of America's great Midwestern short tracks.
I wanted him to run the truck series this year. He didn't really want to. He wanted to run Busch. I said, go run the truck series. Let's win some races. Let's try to win the truck championship. That's going to give us a lot of momentum going into 98 with a new sponsor and you as a Winston Cup driver. And boy, coming through.
He is coming through. There is Rich Bickle starting on the Busch pole. We've got Tony Raines carrying an on-truck camera set for you today. We've got Boris Said III doing likewise, the Federated Auto Parts truck. Mike Bliss will be riding you around the half-mile on board the ASE truck. And Ron Hornaday, way back in the field, will also be carrying our on-truck cameras. A number of teams failing to qualify for today's activity here at the I-70 Speedway, but the 32 trucks who are here are set to give you an outstanding race. The field now getting one more lap before green, so why don't we take a look at those who failed to qualify here today. Series regular Lance Norick, Rob Rizzo, Randy Tolsma, Scott Walters, who was hoping to do double duty with. There was a NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series race here a night ago, and Mark Robe also failing to qualify. Before we get going, we want to offer condolences to the family of Joe Ruttman, a regular on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. His brother Troy Ruttman, the 1952 winner of the Indianapolis 500, passed away after a lengthy battle with cancer earlier this week. Also to David Levendahl, who represents Bill Stein's Shocks on the NASCAR scene. His son Joshua passing away of an accident this past week. Our condolences to all. Green flag at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa. We're underway. That didn't take long. Didn't take long at all as the field began coming off the corner, and all of a sudden Toby Butler, buddy, found himself in a mess.
Yeah, he's got a lot of damage to the right front corner of the truck. He got into the outside wall there pretty hard.
So the first lap ever that has been led by Tony Raines. He shows the way here at the I-70 Speedway, but we've got our first caution of the day as well. Go back to green here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. We're just about 40 miles outside of downtown Kansas City. Green flag for Tony Raines as we're back to work at lap number 4.
I think everybody expected Bickle just to drive away, but you can see Raines has really got that truck hooked up. He's running very quick around the racetrack.
No problems for either Kenny Allen or Toby Butler after their spin, although Allen did make a pit stop on lap number 2.
He's he's got a lot of damage to the left side of Allen, has a lot of damage to his truck.
Good scramble there. Rick Crawford on the 98. That's Kenny Irwin Jr. A couple of guys battling for Cintas Rookie of the Year honors. Back up front, Raines. Nicholas in second. Jack Sprague third. Corelli running in the fourth spot. Fifth is Crawford. Irwin is sixth. Jimmy Hensley is seventh. Morris Sin is eighth. Chuck Pound is ninth. Tony Roper is 10th. Glenn Jarrett's on the pit lane.
Well, guys, I've been watching Tony Raines all weekend, and he is using a groove that is a full lane higher than anybody else out there, and it works for him early on in the race. Now, as the other guys have gotten settled in, both Sprague and Bickle have closed that gap that Tony was able to open on that last restart. Looks like he may have to try to move down a little bit. I talked to his truck owner, Kurt Rohrig, before the race. He said Tony just likes it up there. It's a lot smoother. They hope they can make it work the whole race long.
Oh, you see Sprague getting on the flat of the racetrack there.
Jack Sprague come very, very close to losing control of that truck, but he did get by Rick Bickle and now running second place.
Trouble. Here's Brian Refner spinning off the number 4 corner. No caution flag. Brian Refner has had a tough season, but we remain under green. He spun and wrecked trucks 5 races in a row, Refner did. Last race at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington was the only race all year that he has run cleanly. Right now, he's obviously able to continue here at lap number 10, but a scary moment for Brian Refner. Meanwhile, the leader right there, Raines, beginning to lap some of the slower trucks.
Raines just now altered his way around the racetrack and dropped to the bottom of the racetrack, and you can see he's running away right now from Jack Sprague. I imagine Jack Sprague's trying to figure out why he got so far sideways a second ago.
Kenny Irwin now moving inside of Kenny Allen's truck, getting around Allen, who you remember was involved in the accident earlier. Irwin running in the 5th spot.
Well, it's no surprise that Rick Corelli has actually moved up to the 4th spot. He was pretty fast in practice, morning practice before. We've got a wreck on the back straightaway.
Problem on the back straightaway. The number 88, that's Terry Cook, an occasional campaigner. He got together with Mike Cope, who had the Slim Jim Penrose truck right there coming off turn number 2, and they got together bringing out this caution at lap number 13.
You can see a lot of damage there to the back end of the truck. He really got whacked in the tailgate of that truck.
So caution now on the speedway for the second time. Now it's giving us a chance to visit with Glenn Jarrett, Bob Keselowski, and this from Dodge.
This week's Dodge Innovation in Motion concerns itself with the first turn wall here at I-70 Speedway and the frightening experience that Dodge driver Bob Keselowski had here in last year's race. You can see the extension that they put on this wall. We've renamed it the Keselowski extension. The wall only used to be about 3 feet tall. It was very easy for a car or a truck to get up on top of this thing, send it out of here, or possibly flipping down the racetrack. That's exactly what happened to Bob last year. Tell us what happened, Bob.
Well, Glenn, it was really a simple deal. I mean, I come together with another truck and spun up the banking, and I figured we'd just back in the wall and probably need a rear clip, but all of a sudden the truck, I didn't even realize it, but I flipped over, and when the first flip, I couldn't even tell I was slipping. Then the second time I realized what was going on, but apparently the truck got on top of the wall and dug in, actually tore a section of the wall right out and dug in and rolled it over and pretty much destroyed that truck, that Dodge truck.
Well, Bob hopes his luck will be better here at I-70 this week. His Dodge truck is running great. He's one of the hottest drivers on the circuit right now. He's had 3 straight top 10 finishes. You could say he's really on a roll. Well, maybe that wasn't exactly the right choice of words.
That innovation in motion brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. Green flag on the speedway. Lap number 17. Still Tony Raines ahead of Sprague, Bickle, Rick Corelli, Kenny Irwin. That's the front 5. Meanwhile, the reason we had the caution, take a look at what transpired off the corner moments ago.
You can see everybody starting around there.
Terry Cook had just come off the corner, got sideways, and spun in front of Mike Cope.
So that brought out the second caution of the afternoon, but now we're back to green, working lap number 18. Tony Raines beginning now to chase down one of the slower trucks just ahead of him, Brian Repner. There you see the scramble from second on back. Meanwhile, Glenn Jarrett, was a scary moment for a bunch of fellows there a while ago.
Well, it was, Eli, and I just happened to be looking right at that. Unfortunately, our cameras didn't catch the very first part of that. As they started off the corner, Mike Cope in the 15 drove up under Terry Cook in the 88, and he nudged him before Terry. That's what got him sideways. He got into the left rear pretty hard. Terry just left the pits. He changed the right side tires under green. You can see a pretty good dent where Cope got into the side of him.
Going around Brian Repner, putting him a lap down after his spin earlier. Reigns continues to lead. If you're curious about Ron Hornaday, he started in 28th. There he now runs in 15th spot. Not a major surprise. They had a situation in qualifying here yesterday where Brandon Butler's truck oiled down the entire half mile after an oil hose, an oil fitting came loose at Hornaday, and some of the other fellows who qualified near the back of the field today were those who had to go out right after that incident, and there was a lot of speedy dry to deal with. It made for a tough situation.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, on Ron's first lap of qualifying, he spun in 3 and 4, back to turn the truck around, backed it all the way back to the start-finish line, and took the second lap.
Eli, you can see Joe Ruttman really working Hornaday over. He's in the 80 truck there trying to make the pass. I tell you, he's been to the outside 2 or 3 times, can't make any headway at all.
Ruttman started in 30th. You've got Jay Sauter in the 3 right behind him, but this is the battle for 15th place.
See Jay Sauter trying to take advantage as they go by Joe Ruttman now. You can see Jay Sauter now going down in the corner trying to take that spot away.
And indeed he does, riding up a bit higher. You saw Hornaday. One of the good things, though, we saw our bumper cam was still working, and that's nice, the way he's made his way up through traffic. There you are with Ron Hornaday right now, working lap number 25.
Ron's really off right now. He's not able to really maintain a lot of speed around this racetrack. This type of racetrack, you really have to use a lot of discipline. And if you start running too hard, too quick, the tires really go away in a hurry.
Michael Dockin now challenging in with Mike Bliss there in the 2. The Dana Dodge and the ASE Chevy. You've got Butch Miller right behind as we're now riding with Mike Bliss.
Welcome home. That makes me feel good there. I love to hear those. It seems that Hornaday's got a little more problems than just the tires going away. He had to change motors this morning, and it does not look like he has a lot of straightaway speed as we're talking about his truck.
We're looking out the back of Mike Bliss's truck on that shot seconds ago. On the board. As the 13 is Curtis Markham. He's subbing for Mike Colabucci this weekend, being bypassed by the 2 of Mike Bliss. So that'll move Bliss up into the 17th spot around Curtis Markham's truck. Colabucci couldn't get away from his regular job, so they called Curtis Markham. I'm serious. They called Curtis on Tuesday, said, "Can you sub?" And he doesn't even have his own seat in the truck. He is using the seat for Colabucci, who's a much larger man than is Curtis Markham.
Bill, this is about the time the truck's really starting to move around a little bit. The tires are getting a little bit hot, and they've run long enough under the green now that it starts getting slippery. Now is when the driving really comes in.
Sure, 30 laps into the race now, everyone's tires are at the same point. They've got a lot of heat. They're starting to get a little greasy. And this racetrack uses up tires pretty well. We're not sure if the truck's going to be able to run all 100 laps to the break without having a problem with tires. Right now, it looks all right, but you can see the trucks are actually starting to just slip and slide a little in the center of the corner, and it's going to get worse as they come on.
Now remember there, Bliss, with whom we're riding, is on the lead lap. The 66 Repner is 2 laps down. Finally is working his way free of it. Meanwhile, Hornaday is back to 23rd now, Glenn Jarrett. What's the story?
Evidently, Eli, Eli, he's lost the cylinder. They're not sure if it's a plug wire off or if the cylinder has completely gone away, but he's only running on 7 right now. That's the reason he can't get up off the corner, as Buddy pointed out. He just simply cannot go down the straightaway. That's a tough break. Really tough on a fast racetrack like this where you got to use all the power that you got. Now he's down a cylinder.
So that's the report on Ron Hornaday in the number 16 truck. Up front, Tony Raines continues to show the way. There he is in the Pennzoil colors, now 4 6/10 seconds ahead of the second-place truck, Rich Bickle. Pirelli is 3rd, Kenny Irwin is 4th, and 5th is Jack Sprague. Back to Odessa, Missouri in a moment. Tony Raines continues to lead as you see problems going off into turn number 1. That is Ron Hornaday. Hornaday was about to go a lap down to Tony Raines, and then in the midst of all the battling, Hornaday's Napa truck ends up in the wall in turn number 1, and we are under caution. Caution is out at lap number 44 for the 3rd time here today.
Boy, you can see a lot of damage to Hornaday's truck on the right front, and I believe the left front's got some damage also.
As they were coming off of corner 4, Tony Raines was trying to put a move underneath them. And we'll be able to see it on the replay here and see what happens.
Already sideways there. And Raines was just going by him at that point, so we'll have to take a closer look and see exactly what transpired. Here it is again. Resendiz is the 35. Raines, the Pennzoil truck, the leader. Well, it happened outside of the camera.
What it looked like, because you can see Dave Resendiz, whole right side of his truck has been hit. As they came across the start-finish line, it looked like Hornaday got a little loose, a little sideways, trying to hold back Tony Raines. Got into Resendiz, then bounced off into the wall.
So Ron Hornaday, who you heard from Glenn Charrett before, was already down 1 cylinder. There he is with something to drink and is waiting for John Monsom and the crew to try and get that truck back into running trim.
I'm going to speculate with the damage on the left front. The truck on the inside did not know that Hornaday was on the outside, and they made a little contact. They got him into the outside wall, and that's what triggered all this off.
So pit stops at lap number 46. Chance for us to bring you our AutoZone Tech Fact, brought to you by the more than 1,550 AutoZone stores across America.
Last year in the Craftsman Truck Series, we had a couple trucks get on their lid, one on their side. When Dale Earnhardt crashed his car at Talladega, he had no idea he would bring safety to the Truck Series. This is how he did it. We call it the Earnhardt bar. It's mandatory this year in all the trucks. It's welded in right here to the main hoop that goes around. It's 90,000 steel tubing. It conforms to the windshield. It goes in under the dash and ties in. It makes the driver a lot safer if we were to get an impact from the roof section. Thank you, Dale.
A big thank you to Dale Earnhardt. That truck, Ron Hornaday, only once all in his career has failed to finish a race. Let's take a look again at what happened.
Well, you're looking out a Raines truck now. As they start around towards the front straightaway, you see Hornaday there on the outside. There's what I was talking about.
Yeah. And that's where he actually ran into
not so
13
much
truck.
Yeah, indeed, it was Curtis Markham and not Resendiz machine. But again, only the opening series event this year at Walt Disney World has that truck failed to finish. That's the only DNF did not finish that Ron Hornaday has had in his NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series career. And he was hoping for a top 3 finish today. Had he gotten it, he would have become the all-time leading money winner in career earnings in this series.
Eli, before we get back to green, not only does that keep other cars from coming in the front windshield, if a wheel comes off one of these cars, that bar will stop the wheel from coming through the windshield and then on the driver.
Green flag now in the air from the chief starter for the series. Miss Morgan shows them the rag, and we're back underway. So with problems on the start here on the main straightaway, Mike Bliss nose first into the wall, but we continue under green.
Mike Bliss has to really hurry. The lead cars are coming off turn 4.
Back off into the corner they go. Raines the leader. Kenny Irwin now running in the second spot. He is the leading rookie rundown all afternoon, brought to you by the folks at Napa. At Napa Auto Parts, they keep America running.
You can see right now Kenny Irwin's running very, very well. He's right up there and really making a run towards the front.
Caution on the Speedway. There's oil on the track in turn number 3. That is being put down by one of the trucks. And caution for the 4th time this afternoon, buddy, has just been put on the field at lap 52.
Mike Bliss has to go thank you, because coming back after winning last year, and he was just about to go a lap down. Now he's back in contention again. This puts him right back in the lead lap there.
Oil and debris, as we saw there on that last shot. Bit of an overcast day, but it's a great afternoon for racing here in Odessa, Missouri. Glad you're with us. Exclusive TNN coverage of the Western Auto Parts America 200 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Field getting set to go green here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. The restart 57. Tony Raines has a problem. The race leader goes wide in the corner, and it hands the lead to Kenny Irwin. There's Raines right there in the Pennzoil truck. Had problems on the start, and Kenny Irwin, the Rookie of the Year leader, is currently leading here in Odessa, Missouri.
Eli, I'm only speculating. He may not have cleaned his tires when they dropped the green flag. He went down in turn 1, turned the truck, and nothing happened. He went straight ahead.
So there is the new leader in the Rebestis truck, trying to put a lap on Lonnie Rush in the 77. Glenn Jarrett's down on the pit lane, watching a lot of stories unfold.
Well, Eli, things are happening down here a little faster than I can keep up with. We're in Hornaday's pits right now. Take a look at the tires that they just took off of his truck. This is the left front. You see it wore it completely through when they had it locked up trying to keep it off the wall. Left rear is the same way. Right rear over here was flat spotted. They came back in. And if I can turn it around, you can see it right there. That was the right side tire. He was glad to see that caution come out. He came back in and changed. One of the big problems they had now, though, is crew chief John Monson, while he was working on the truck, severely cut his left hand. So medics are attending to him right now.
Meanwhile, you saw that Kenny Irwin's truck went wide. Jimmy Hensley is now the race leader, and here comes Irwin. The Rebestis Ford is heading to the pit lane at lap number 60. Quickly from Tony Raines to Kenny Irwin, now to Hensley.
Flat right front on Kenny Irwin. You can see him changing the right front there. The truck just went down in the corner, went straight ahead towards the wall. You can see the flat on the right front.
So Jimmy Hensley now the race leader. Boy, there's a heartbreaker for Irwin, who will lose at least a couple of laps. And there the 43 truck is the leader. Bickle in the 17 right behind. The 77 is still trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap, Lonnie Rush. Jimmy Hensley finished 8th here a year ago. In this, only his 2nd visit ever to the I-70 Speedway. Well, when it happens in a hurry.
It does that for sure. I know Hensley's got to be very, very pleased to have his Dodge out front, but just behind him there in the 17, Bickle is in 2nd, and Rick Corelli's running a very good race in 3rd place right at the moment.
Rick Corelli running in 3rd, as you mentioned. There's the race leader, Hensley. First time he has led here in 1997. His best finish was 6th in the season opener at the Walt Disney World Speedway.
You know, at 4th place, we had almost a wreck there. You could see Corelli get down in the corner, get sideways. Chuck Brown got by him in the 99 there.
And so does Ricky Crawford in the 14. So Bound and Crawford moving up a spot.
We've got Jay Sauter spinning up into the corner of 3 and 4.
And caution is on the Speedway as Sauter and Stacy Compton get together up there in the turn, bringing out caution for the 5th time. Lap 66, Michael Dockin also getting a piece of it as his truck is working around the racetrack now with significant damage. But there is Jay Sauter's truck. Stacy Compton, Sauter, And now umbrellas have come out. We are having a Midwestern shower. The sun is out.
Very strange looking. Blue skies directly over the booth, raining all everywhere else.
Big downpour.
Let's go back and take a look at exactly what happened up there in turns 3 and 4. Sauter is in the 3. Here's Compton. Oh,
whoa, Compton went in there just a little quicker than it would turn.
And there's Doc in the 18. Oh, and Resendiz just got by on the low side
barely,
of the track.
Yes.
So we have got caution on the speedway and a rain shower as well. Unrelated, but they're together. We're coming right back. Transportation for this broadcast has been provided by Ryder, the official transportation company of Opryland. Highway transportation provided by Winnebago Industries, the official motorhome of TNN. Stop by your local Winnebago or Itasca dealer now and see the new models available. For more information on the Winnebago Motorsports team, please call 1-800-643-4892, extension 2. Promotional consideration for today's broadcast also brought to you from Featherlight Trailers, the official trailer of NASCAR, IndyCar, IRL, and major sponsor of the NHRA. Remember to call for all of your trailer needs at 1-800-800-1230 or 1-319-547-6000. Well, we are under a rain delay here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa. Mother Nature had been teasing us all day long, and finally she has let loose upon the sold-out grandstand that seats some 7,900. A lot of folks have sought solace in their cars. A little blue sky still overhead, and here's what has brought us to where we are now. First off, watch this great save by Rick Corelli.
Rick Corelli, though, turns down before he clears the 77 truck there. You can see him get sideways. Great job. You can see him giving it just enough as Chuck Bound goes by on the inside there. But Corelli really did a nice job of holding on to that truck.
And meanwhile, the accident that brought out the caution from the view that Ron Hornaday had. There goes Compton and Sauter.
Yeah, it looked like Stacy Compton just got into the corner a little too hot. Like I had mentioned in the earlier of the broadcast, that the truck actually pushed up a half a lane, and Jay Sauter happened to be there. Hit him in the left rear, and that's when everybody spun.
You see Stacy Compton's truck being brought down the main straightaway to the garage area, and Glenn Jarrett, it almost looks as though it has stopped raining as quickly as it started.
They look that way to you from in that dry booth, but for us guys out here in the rain, no, it has not stopped.
I see the puddles now. Thank you.
No, it has slackened considerably, Eli. And as you said, a lot of blue sky around here. It doesn't look like it's going to last very long. I have been able to find out a couple of things though here during the rain delay. Number one, we were, you see my new umbrella I bought yesterday, figured it would rain sometime today. I did check with Tony Rain's guys, and they said that on that restart, he got stuck in gear. The truck stuck in second gear, and one of the trucks pushed him up in the wall, and he just decided to let traffic get under him until he could get it straightened out. He's back up. His lap times are the same as they were when he was leading, so we'll hear from Tony again today. Also checked with Dennis Conner and Jack Sprague. Jack had fallen back through the pack pretty drastically there, and Dennis said that the truck was pushing going in and loose coming off. Buddy, that's not a good sign.
Glenn, take
Glenn, are you doing your mini
You look
Pearl
like Mini
imitation?
Pearl. Look at the bottom down there.
On the bottom of your umbrella.
You going to take it home?
You got the price tag still.
What does that say? Read that.
$6.98.
$10. You can see that I spare no expense, man.
Oh, the sun is out, though the rain does lightly continue to fall. Under a rain delay here at the I-70 Speedway with Jimmy Hensley, the leader. Back with you at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, under a rain delay. A chance for us, though, to remind you about the official store of NASCAR. NASCAR Thunder locations open at the Gwinnett Place Mall in Atlanta, the Haynes Mall in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Westtown Mall in Knoxville, Tennessee, the Vista Ridge Mall in Dallas, and the newest location now open, the Kenwood Town Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. And as a matter of fact, coming up later this year, you can look for about 10 or 12 new locations to be announced. So check out a NASCAR Thunder location already open near you, or get the good news about a store that is coming to your area. All the teams now bringing their trucks around to the main straightaway. These laps are not being counted. They are not being scored. And as you see, that is clearly not Ron Hornaday. They have removed the drivers from the majority of the trucks, and crew members are now driving them around to the main straightaway. Lap leaders this season, well, there have been a pretty good bundle of them, but look how competitive Bickle and Jack Sprague have been this year.
Well, there's a funny story about Jack Sprague. His crew chief has said if he wins a short track race, he's going to shave his head.
Well, I could just see Dennis Conner with the shaved head.
There is Jack Sprague's truck, the Quaker State machine, out of Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, one thing I noticed when you had the graphic up there about the lap leaders, if you notice, they all ran the same amount of laps, which meant none of them had dropped off.
Michael Dockin, meanwhile, his truck, you remember, was involved in that accident, and there they are still working on buttoning it up on the back straightaway. The Dana Dodge for Kurt Rohrig's bunch involved there in that problem. Glenn Jarrett on the pit lane has got some visitors now, or do you?
Well, actually, Eli, I found a crashed truck. If you look, this is Mike Bliss's #2 truck. No, this is not the truck he's running in the race right now. This is the one they wanted to run and that he crashed in practice yesterday. I-70 Speedway is being awfully tough on equipment both yesterday and today. This is the truck, I believe, that Bill Elliott ran for these guys out in Las Vegas at the end of last year. Mike wanted to run it. He crashed it in practice yesterday. But the backup truck, none other than the one that he won this race with a year ago. So that's not too bad a backup. Now I'm going to make my way to pit road. I'll put my price tag umbrella up. It has stopped raining now. Sun's shining. It's beautiful out here. We're going to go get a word from some of these guys, see how things are going.
Some of the Darrell Waltrip, Rich Bickle crew there, kind of cleaning off some of that standing water on the pit lane so that this race can resume once track drying. One thing about this racetrack, with the 28 degrees of banking in the turns and what is again now brilliant sunshine, the track should dry fairly quickly.
Exactly, Eli. And the other point is the back straightaway and front straightaway also have a good bank on it, so it should drain pretty well and should be dryable in just a little bit of time.
Why don't we check out the point standings for you in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series? They're brought to you by the original vent visor, the most practical accessory for your truck. And there you see Rich Bickle, by virtue of his victories in the last two races in Portland, Oregon and Monroe, Washington. He has now padded his lead just a bit. Butch Miller, good run for him. Kenny Irwin, the leading rookie. Joe Ruttman, new daddy, Dave Rezendes. He has Charles Hardy's truck in the 8th spot. Good run for Chuck Bound this season. It's been nice to see Chuck get himself back in gear with a serious run here for the Exide team and Jay Sauter. And I mentioned earlier that Dave Rezendes is the new daddy. His wife, Michelle, with Evan Paul Rezendes, who was born at 11:08 in the morning on Tuesday, 5 pounds, 15 ounces, and obviously mother and son doing just fine. Daddy has never quite been fine, so I don't know if that will change things. But
nice hat.
In all seriousness, congratulations to Dave and Michelle and the whole family. That's certainly great news. Right now, from the I-70 Speedway here in Odessa, why don't we turn things back to the TNN studios in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got more coming up from I-70 shortly. 70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Bill Venturini in the midst of a rain delay during the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. Jimmy Hensley is currently showing the way. Let's talk about what this does, A, to the drivers, and B, to their racing engines just sitting here for 20, 25, 30 minutes or more.
Well, I can speak for myself. Anytime there was rain on the racetrack, I was all hyper anyhow, and I was ready to go. And when I had to stop like this, it took me just a few laps to get the rhythm back.
Now, how about the track itself, though? After rain, it'll come in and wipe away all of the debris, the rubber, the grease and all.
Well, I don't think it was a big enough rain to really affect the way the racetrack's going to handle. But like Buddy said, the biggest problem that driver's going to have is the adrenaline. He builds up that adrenaline before the race starts, gets going, gets into his rhythm right away. Now he's got this lull, his adrenaline's down. He's got to really concentrate the first 5 or 10 laps to get that back up.
And certainly, Glenn Jarrett, during your driving days, you faced situations like this as well.
Well, yeah, I did, Eli, but most of the time when I stopped, it's because I'd hit something. Freddie Fryer's saying something to me now. Oh, they want to get the truck in behind this shot here. Freddie Fryer is the crew chief on Jimmy Hensley's truck, the number 43 Dodge, owned by Richard Petty, who is currently leading this race. Any concerns at all, Jimmy, about this delay, other than the fact that we didn't run quite enough laps?
Been nice to be on one lap, but no, the truck's been great. The whole race, really, started 10th, just kind of by that time, just kind of worked our way up through. The Cummins Dodge is running really well right now, and hopefully the little rain delay won't dampen how we were running. A lot of guys are sideways and pushing and loose, and we've been pretty straight, most of the race. So I hope it's that way when we go back.
Well, I'm sure it will be. If you can see the breathing strip, the breathe right strip on Jimmy's nose there, that's not to help him breathe right. That's to hold down the snoring in the truck, man. He's such a cool customer. He sleeps while leading this race.
The Virginia gentleman. He is from Horse Pasture, Virginia, Jimmy Hensley is. That's a suburb of Ridgeway, Virginia, which is also a suburb of Martinsville, Virginia. You get the idea. He's a cool customer. As soon as we come back, we've got more coming your way from the I-70 Speedway as we wait out a rain delay in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Western Auto Parts America 200 is brought to you by the more than 1,550 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by the original vent visor, the most practical accessory for your truck. Welcome back, everybody. Track drying continuing here at lap number 67 of 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Jimmy Hensley is the race leader here in Odessa, Missouri. If you're just joining us, we are now in a red flag for the last 24 minutes, which came out after the 5th caution of the day. The first caution was on lap number 1, then one on lap 14, 44, lap 52, and then finally lap 66. As Jay Sauter, Michael Dokken, and Stacy Compton got together, and it was during the cleanup from that last caution when the rain shower came. Only Compton's truck is currently being shown out of the event, although there's got to be a lot of work done to the Sauter and Dokken machines once this day continues. And if you're not familiar with NASCAR racing rules, we'll remind you that when the red flag is displayed, as is the case right now, all work must stop on the truck. So Sauter's crew and Compton's crew and Dokken's crew are powerless to work at this point. They've got to wait for at least the caution to be displayed again.
You can't work on them, but you can sure look at tire wear and stuff like that. And I guarantee you they're smoking it over. Speaking of smoking, look at the tires there as they are drug around here. The big tractor tires that they pull behind the trucks there are beginning to smoke. That's a good sign. That means it's getting dry enough to smoke that tire, so it won't be long now.
We told you Jimmy Hensley is the race leader, but the man who is going for his 3rd win in succession is now running in the 2nd spot. Rich Bickle and Glenn Jarrett are together down on the pit lane.
And we're just standing here talking about what you just said, buddy. This thing is drying out fast. The steep bank plus that hot sunshine right now. It is bright and warm out here. Rich, your truck looked like it wasn't doing exactly the way you wanted there in that first segment.
Well, 1 out of 3 trips of the last 3 races, we're a little bit off. We're a little bit loose right now. But, like I said in the beginning, this place is hard on tires, so I knew I was a little loose, so I've been saving the right rear, and hopefully, we'll come in there for the break and make adjustments until Sears Dyer Chevrolet and take her to the front in the second half.
We've seen a lot of guys that are ahead of you have had problems already having tire problems.
Well, like I said, this place is rough, and it's really hard on the right rear, and if you don't use your foot here real easy and not try to slide it getting in and, burn it up coming off, you really got to take your time with it. And I knew that I was loose, so I decided, well, I'll just back off of here a little bit and just ride along, and we'll make some change here at the halfway break, and we'll be all right.
Well, guys, he made a great analogy just a while ago talking with me. He said you have to drive a truck here like you have an eggshell under the accelerator.
That's a good point, and he learned by testing this truck at the Hickory Motor Speedway in North Carolina before heading west to Portland and then up to Monroe, Washington, and then here to Odessa. Hey, if you can't get enough motorsports by watching it on TV, then why not bring a part of your favorite race team right into your own home? You can come to Opryland June 28th for the Food Lion TNN Salute to Motorsports charity auction. You can bid on everything from autographed racing tires to crew uniforms, and the proceeds will be going to Technology 2000. If you'd like more information, just call the number you see on the screen, 615-889-6611. And come on, be part of Food Lion and TNN's Salute to Motorsports and the charity auction, where no doubt you can find a Buddy Baker autographed picture suitable for framing. We've got more coming up. I'd better jump in here before you get equal time, buddy. We continue from I-70 in a moment. Very nicely here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, under a red flag for rain at lap number 67. Couple of interesting trucks right there. Joe Ruttman on the right of your screen, number 80, started in 30th position, and the LCI truck is now up to 13th. Right behind truck number 20, Butch Miller. He started 29th. He's moved all the way up to 14th position. You've got Bill Sedgwick having made a very nice move here today. In his soft cut truck, he started 27th, and he's now 15th. And Glenn Jarrett, how about old Chuck Bound? He is now in 3rd, moving up from 11th in the Exide truck.
Yeah, he hasn't wasted too much time, Eli, moving right to the front. He and I were talking while we were away at break about the 3 guys that are leading this thing right now. Jimmy Hensley, Rich Bickle, and Chuck Bound in 3rd. These are guys with a lot of experience, know how to take care of their equipment, and all things else being pretty equal, Chuck, you guys have got the kind of experience to know that you got to take care of your stuff early on.
Yeah, I think one thing that's helping me, Glenn, is I've never been here before. So maybe I'm being a little bit wiser, or I don't know, maybe luckier. But my guys have done a good job with the Exide Ford. I think it's running pretty good. I hated to see that rain come because we were just starting to really pick them off and get a chance to run for the lead. But the weather's looking pretty good. I think we're going to get back out there and see what we've got.
Well, how was the track to you? Was your truck tight or loose?
We're doing a little bit of both, depending on how many consecutive green flag laps we ran. I'd get loose in a long run, but when we had a bunch of yellows, it'd get back tight again, so I don't know.
Well, Chuck's getting ready to get back in his truck. In fact, they have just made the announcement for all the drivers to get back in their trucks, so I guess we'll let them do that, get buckled up, and get ready to go again. Guys, the racetrack looks completely dry down here, although pit road is pretty wet.
Pit road is a bit damp yet, but we will be ready to go racing in just a short while. Near the back of the field, see truck number 88 right there in the middle of the screen. Terry Cook out of Sandusky, Ohio is the driver. Notice the sponsor, first time on board for the Pro Bowlers Association. You're familiar with all their great shows over the years when Chris Schenkel would anchor over there on ABC Sports. Well, that is the National PBA folks who are on board with Terry Cook, who made 3 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series starts a year ago. And I guess, Bill, he had some limited ARCA experience on the short tracks at Toledo and Flat Rock, and he's moved up nicely.
Yeah, it's nice to see him run in the Truck Series with a national sponsor. I'm really surprised with the PBA. I like that because I'm a bowler myself. I'm not with the PBA.
Yeah, you're a bowler, aren't you?
What do you average?
About 195.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not bad at all.
I'll quit laughing then.
Well, every year at Daytona they have the national the bowling charity, and I've won that 3 years. Well, actually 4 years in a row.
Well, it's great to see the folks from the Pro Bowlers Association on board, joining the National Hockey League with Lance Norrick's truck. By the way, if you'd like to log on right now to your computer, www.nascar.com. That's the address for NASCAR Online. Andy Hall from NASCAR Online with us here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. He's got the scoring updates, all the information for you. You might want to check it out. And, hey, have you heard what the critics are saying about the TNN Motorsports video game, Hardcore 4x4, available for the Sony PlayStations and the Sega Saturn system? It is a very amazing sense of realism, they have told me. I must admit, I am not one who is particularly proficient, but I can certainly appreciate what I'm looking at. They say if you get any closer, you're going to have to scrape the mud off your TV. So check it out, the Hardcore 4x4. We are at the I-70 Speedway, as the name would suggest, right off Interstate 70, about 40 miles east of Kansas City. Couple of moments away from resuming racing here in Odessa, Missouri. Blue sky overhead after a rain delay that has now gone 35 minutes in duration. Hope you can join us next weekend. We've got a big doubleheader of NASCAR racing on TNN next weekend. Not only will we have the same NASCAR Craftsman trucks in action from the Loudon, New Hampshire International Speedway, but we'll also have live NASCAR Busch Series racing from Dover Downs International Speedway. It all starts at 1 o'clock Eastern, followed by the trucks at 3:30 Eastern, right here on the leader, TNN Motorsports. That's coming up next Saturday. Glenn Jarrett, they're about set to fire him up again.
Well, they are, and they're trying to run me off before I get to talk to Rick Corelli. But, Rick, I've clocked you this morning. You've had a fast truck. Looks like you're just taking your time getting your way to the front.
Yeah, we're taking our time. We're a little tight coming off of 4 here, but I think everybody else is. And, you know, if we can adjust here at halftime, we have some plans. Maybe we got something for everybody. And I want to say hi to my kids at home. And, Rob, get well soon, man.
Okay, they're running us out of here now. They want to button Rick back up. They're ready to put the trucks back on the track, guys.
The Rob he's referring to is Rob White, who is home recovering from surgery. Rob has been a member of Rick Corelli Racing ever since that our organization began. He is one of the charter members, and this is the very first race that Corelli has competed in that he's not been alongside. So, Rob White, certainly look forward to seeing you back at the racetrack very, very shortly. We are under the red flag, lap number 67 of 200, a fairly short race, 108.6 miles around this racetrack. The track measures just 0.543 miles around, and we talked about Rich Bickle now being shown in second spot, as opposed to Jimmy Hensley, who's only been here twice. Rich Bickle has only been here 3 times. You'd think that Bickle has been every track a whole ton of times, only the 3rd time he has visited this speedway, and the first time was just for a 1-lap shot when he subbed for Scott Hansen, who had a broken leg during an ASA run here. And Rich Bickle has been here before, but doesn't have a ton of experience on the track. Good to see you folks. We appreciate your being part of it all here on TNN Motorsports. Our congratulations to Joe Nemechek. He was a winner today at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the NASCAR Busch Series running in advance of tomorrow's Coca-Cola 600. Kevin LePage from Shelburne, Vermont came home in second. Mark Martin, there's an upset, he didn't win.
They must have blocked the racetrack or something. I can't imagine.
Jimmy Spencer and Phil Parsons rounding out the top 5. I'll tell you, that Channel Lock car for Phil Parsons there, he's running awfully consistently this year.
Eli, it's so good to see Phil Parsons doing so well. You know, everybody said at one time he just wasn't going to make it. He believed in himself. He and his wife worked very hard, put a team together, put a strong contingent together, and he's been right up there in every race this year.
Yeah, he's been running competitive all year. I don't think he's, if he hasn't had a problem where he's dropped out, he's finished in the top 10 everywhere.
Interesting story about next week. We told you that TNN will be up at Loudon, New Hampshire for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The team that fields the truck that you're inside of right now, Mike Bliss's team, they are going to have a truck on hand for Eric Norris. Does that name sound familiar? He is the stunt coordinator for his dad. Chuck Norris has that great CBS show, Walker, Texas Ranger. And Eric Norris is slated to make his debut on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in New Hampshire next weekend. He'll be driving a truck owned by Jimmy Smith, who owns Mike Bliss's team. They went to Bristol the other day, and well, it's a fact. He lasted 3 laps before he found the wall. Tough racetrack to test at, but they say that Eric Norris has some pretty significant ability, and he'll be on board coming next weekend.
As you can see here, they're towing the Jay Sauter truck around the back straightaway. I think now they're going to bring it into the garage area. You can see it's really heavily damaged in the left rear where the truck had spun around going into the corner and backed into the wall.
Jesse Coker, the crew member there, who is riding along with that Goodwrench service truck, and the reason they are towing it back now is because they have shown the caution flag ending the red flag period of 38 minutes and 57 seconds. And here's what happened again. Stacy Compton getting together with Sauter, Michael Dockin also there in the Dana Dodge, and that happened just prior, a moment or so before the rains hit.
You can see Dockin, 3rd truck in the wreck there. He had absolutely nowhere to go. He was just collecting in something he had nothing to do with.
So work resumes. There's that's Timmy Cahoot at the front of Toby Butler's truck on the pit lane.
Yeah, I heard that Matt, one of their guys that work in the Toby Butler crew, couldn't make it this weekend. He's getting married.
So a lot of good news from around the garage area, but some work to be done there on that number 52 truck. They found the wall earlier in the week in testing at the Texas Motor Speedway, so there's been a lot of thrashing going on the part of that Ken Schrader-owned team down there throughout the course of the week. But as clearly you can see, the track is dry. They are tending to the pit road right now, trying to make sure that it will be as dry as possible. We're still some 32 laps shy of halfway and the scheduled halftime break. Some other good runs here in the early going. Tammy Jo Kirk is now running in the 9th spot after the great run she had at Portland, Oregon a few weeks ago until a late race shunt with Joe Ruttman put her aside. But there's old Tammy Jo doing a fine job.
Eli, Tammy Jo was running in 3rd place and got into Joe Ruttman. She said, I just didn't see him on the outside, and it caused a pretty big wreck. But Tammy Jo Kirk is not just a lady driver. She has a lot of ability. Believe you me, she'll make it in the sport.
And she finished 5th here in a NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series race just a season ago. So she is one of those who knows this track well. Just ahead there, the number 26, just ahead of Tammy Jo. That's a good run right now going on for a lot of folks you wouldn't automatically think of. Rick Beebe, he is the 3rd all-time main event winner here at the I-70 Speedway. He was the ASA Rookie of the Year and knows this track probably as well as anybody, but maybe doesn't have that national name recognition that some other folks do, and he's doing himself proud right now running in 9th.
Yeah, and his truck owner, Mike Mittler, good friend of the people in racing. He's innovator of a lot of the tubing notches and tubing benders that we all use, and he's from this area.
Meanwhile, Toby Butler and the crew still thrashing.
Eli, you see a lot of smoke coming out of that truck there. He must be running hot or having an engine problem of some kind. It sure is smoking pretty heavily out the left side.
On the left of the screen there, you see Timmy Cahoon. He is the crew chief with the radios on, looking on there, and I don't think anybody likes what they say.
It quits as soon as he moves out of that water hole there.
Yeah, I wonder if he was just heating up the water in the pits and was causing some steam.
No, they had the hood up on the truck of Toby Butler, so he's having some types of problems. He's still smoking on the back straightaway there, so it won't be long before he's back in here.
You know, a few minutes ago, Eli, you made a comment that this was kind of a short race. Let me tell you, I've raced here at I-70, and the corners here are like we had talked, they're high bank, they're rough. When you go into the corner, the truck actually, the wheel gets really heavy. It's not like on a flatter short track where you go into the corner, you can turn the wheel easy. You get in here and the wheel feels real heavy. And the back straightaway isn't really straight. You actually come off the corner, you got to turn just a little down the back straightaway and then into the corner again.
Are you telling me that you got tired here?
No, I didn't say I got tired.
I know you didn't have any neck problems. He don't have one, folks.
Last time Bill Venturini shrugged his shoulders, he covered his ears up. There's their leaderboard as it runs at this very second, as everybody is back on the racetrack now. There you see your top 10. Position number 11, good run for Bob Keselowski. Tony Raines, who was the early leader before having problems on his truck, he now is running in the 12th spot. The field about set to get the 1-to-go signal, so we're closing in on a restart. Rookie of the Year leader, Kenny Irwin, who led this race for a couple of laps, lap 57 and 58. He's now in 22nd, and then you see Dan Press. And the final man on the leaderboard, Mike Pope from the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series. 1 to go now as the field gets set to go back to green. Jimmy Hensley, the leader, Glenn Jarrett, not set to get at it.
Well, he is, and you're looking, as you can see through my camera now, we're looking at the back of Freddie Fryer, who is the crew chief on that truck. That truck that Jimmy's running right now is a truck that Freddie crashed at Caraway Speedway in Asheboro the other day, testing it. They were having some brake problems with the truck. Freddie said, oh, I can fix it. Let me feel what it's doing. He jumped in the truck, took it around a couple of laps, locked the brakes up, backed it into the wall. Obviously, it didn't do it much damage. Here we go to the green flag.
That's something that Freddie Fryer doesn't do often over his career. He hasn't crashed too many. He's got far more wins than he does accidents. Green is in the air. Glad you've stayed with us through the rain delay of better than a half hour. Jimmy Hensley trying to jump on a quick restart.
Eli, this is always a dangerous part of the race when they're running side by side on restarts like this, and you have lap trucks in there, and you can see these guys are really going at it right now, trying to get back up there. The lap trucks are trying to make up their lap.
Well, this guy right here, Ron Hornaday, he's 10 laps down, but nevertheless, back out there running.
He's not driving like 10 laps. He looks like he's driving to the front right now.
Meanwhile, lap 75 on the board. Hensley and Bickle continue to lead as one truck spins in turn 2. That was the BB truck about whom we were bragging just a short while ago. There is Rick Beebe, a regular here at the I-70 Speedway, but we remain under green. Glenn Jarrett has a battle for the lead right now as Bickle makes a move to the inside of Hensley, and here comes Kenny Irwin
Hensley
as
got
well.
real loose.
Yeah, right in the center, 1 and 2 on the last lap. Jimmy Hensley got loose going into the corner, and Bickle got right underneath him.
So Rich Bickle, now the new leader here at the I-70 Speedway. Again, Kenny Irwin behind him a couple of laps down, and there you see the second place man, Jimmy Hensley.
Looks like Kenny Irwin's really going to make a move here on Bickle any second. He's tried him on the outside twice. Now he's looking to the inside as they head down the back straightaway into turn 3. He's got his hands full right now, Rich Bickle does.
Again, that battle for the lead moments ago. Here's how it unfolded. Actually, they were going in the other direction at the time, but you kind of get the idea. There he went, just the least little bit loose for Jimmy Hensley. And it's all the opening that Rich Bickle needed. Back live now, lap number 79. Bickle, who has won the last 2 races in succession. Kenny Irwin, who led earlier, but then had problems on his truck and lost the 2 laps. He'd love to get one of those laps back right here.
Kenny Irwin's doing everything he can to get up under Rich Bickle. Rich Bickle's running a very conservative line there. It's going to be tough to get under, don't you think, Bill?
Yeah, Bickle's just got to watch out that Kenny doesn't get a little too antsy and give him a little shot in the back. Rich is running a perfect line. He's got the truck working right where he wants to. And Kenny Irwin's really got to work just to try and get under.
Bickle holding off the challenge. Again, that is not for the lead. It is merely Irwin trying to get one of his 2 laps back if he can here, nearing halfway at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. Here at the I-70 Speedway, right behind him, the 43 truck, that is Jimmy Hensley. They are first and second now as they work nose to tail. Meanwhile, Bob Keselowski on the pit lane. He pitted at lap number 89 a couple of laps ago because of this incident, Bill Venturini.
Yeah, you can see he's coming off of corner 4 here. He actually got down on the flat, and what it did is it upset the truck, came off the corner, and then pushed him up into the wall. It's happened in practice by a couple guys. They've got that left front tire down on the flat. They've actually gone a little too low, and it upsets the truck so bad that it shoots it back up into the corner.
Now, setting what you're looking at here, the leader is the 17, Rich Bickle. 43, Jimmy Hensley is second. The next truck in line is Ron Hornaday. He is still 10 laps down, although we should say he does have fresh tires, and they found the reason they were down on 7 cylinders. They had a spark plug wire that had come off. They have replaced it, so he is up to full song, but 10 laps down. Then behind him will be Chuck Bound, who's running in the 3rd spot. In the garage, Stacy Compton, Jay Sauter, and Toby Butler's crew has now pushed his truck behind the wall. Across the top of the screen, the rundown, MCI, the official telecommunications company of NASCAR, bringing you the scoring rundown here as we are just 6 laps shy of halfway.
The lap traffic coming into play right now. The 4 of Sedgwick is trying to go around the bottom part of the racetrack, and the leaders are really all over him there. A little contact there between Hornaday and the 43 of Hensley.
There's another truck that's joined that battle now with Chuck Bound, the 99 truck, Chuck Bound.
Chuck running in the 3rd spot. Tony Range back up to 4th. Remember, he was the leader for the first 56 laps.
Eli, there's no question about whether Range is the fastest truck out there or not. He's really able to make moves on the outside. He's trying to get
today that actually can make a move on the outside of somebody.
Around Lonnie Rush go the race leaders. And some significant traffic now. Fighting with Raines in third. Field working towards the halfway point here. After a rain delay of 38 minutes and 57 seconds.
Look at Tony Raines there trying to take second place away from Jimmy Hensley on the outside. Looks like he's going to pull it off.
And he goes outside of Hensley, goes around Brian Refner and catches up with race leader Bickle. As caution is on the speedway, the halfway break here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, as Rich Bickle leads him at halfway. Caution number 6. It comes out at lap 101, one lap past the halfway point. Bickle the leader. Raines is second, Hensley third, Chuck Bound, Joe Ruttman, Crawford, Roper, Miller, and Corelli. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Western Auto Parts America 200 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by the Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning. Welcome back to the I-70 Speedway, the halftime break in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event. You know, Glenn Jarrett, the old saying about things getting better with age. Rich Bickle is leading, and I'm not talking of Rich's age, but that truck is the second oldest truck in their stable, and there he is leading the race today.
And I think that, in fact, I know that these guys here hope this truck never dies, never goes away. What a good race truck, and for a loose truck, it did pretty good in that last segment there, Rich.
Well, they said the rain was coming, and I thought, well, I looked to the right rear. I had no tire left. I had to pound it pretty hard, but Jimmy got loose getting into 1 and 2 there, and I got underneath him and got by him, and we still got to make some major adjustments because this ain't good enough to win right now. So we'll get this diehard Chevy fixed up. We'll hopefully get in a winner's circle again.
What are they doing to the truck, Rich? I saw them change the left rear spring for one thing.
Well, we got to tighten her up a little bit. That's what we got to do.
Well, he's not going to give any secrets away, and they are working on tightening that truck up right now. As he said, he knows the 19 truck of Tony Raines was coming. They got to get a little better to hold him off.
Trying to go for his third win in succession. Let's take a look at the full field rundown for you. Look at old Tony Roper right there, Bill, in 7th spot in Bob Brevac's truck.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that. This is Tony's old home track, and Bob Brevac, the car owner, the truck owner of the team, looking for a major sponsor for that program, but glad to see it. A good effort for the whole team.
Moving further back now, positions 11 through 20. Tammy Jo Kirk at the top of that list, and Curtis Markham in 20th, driving the Calabucci truck here this weekend. Lonnie Rush hanging in there. Ron Hornaday, after his problems of earlier, he is now 10 laps down in 24th. And then you get to some of the others who've been involved in shunts here this afternoon, including those who are in the garage area. Back to Glenn Jarrett.
And sitting by Jimmy Hensley right now. Jimmy finished third in the first segment there. And Jimmy, you looks like you didn't even give the 19 truck Tony Raines even a battle there at the end. Just let him go. That truck was fast.
Yeah, he come up on me there pretty good. You know, I don't need to run him in the wall. You know, it's just halfway. So, you know, I his truck's working really well. I think we have a good truck. 17 truck's good. 99. So, you know, we look for a tough battle here the latter part of the race.
Looks like you had something for the 17 truck. You could run right with it.
Well, he was better on short runs. I needed a little longer run, and I just kind of let him. I got a little bit loose, you know, when he got by me, and then I was as good as he was the rest of the way, you know. But made a little mistake and let him get by me. So see if we can't do something about that second time around.
Well, Jimmy Hensley doesn't make many mistakes. You can bet if he can grab that lead back, he will.
And he has Dodge's best ever finish here at this racetrack. They were rammed tough all the way to 8th place here a year ago with Jimmy at the wheel. Closing in on the restart in a moment. Destination of NASCAR, Opryland, USA. Give them a call at 615-889-6611. Get yourself all set for a great time at the official destination of NASCAR. And yes, if you're wondering, the Food Lion, TNN, Salute to Motorsports will be returning to Opryland. The dates are June 25th through 29th. And for more information, just again, call that same number Monday through Friday, 615-889-6611. They'll give you all the details you need. Rich Bickle is the race leader as we get set to go back to work. Glenn, super run for Tony Raines, the defending ASA champion. He's second right now.
Oh, absolutely, Eli. We talked about how fast he is. He was so fast when I came down here to talk to him in the pit area, he'd already left. He's real quick. He got into the wall a little bit on that restart there, and I thought there might be some damage to the truck, but I talked to the guys. They said no. In fact, they said if it did anything, it may have helped the truck. He's real quick. They made no changes on that truck except changing the all 4 tires. That's all they did. They say they weren't going to touch it. Tony was completely happy with the truck, and well, he should be. He charged to the front one time, took the lead, ran off, left everybody, had the problem on the restart, and came from the back of the pack to finish second. Man, he's the guy to watch in the second half.
And Tony Raines is carrying one of our onboard cameras today.
Yeah, Tony's doing a great job. Like Glenn had said, that at first when he was leading the race on one of the restarts, transmission stuck in gear. He lost valuable positions doing that. Then just before we went to the rain delay, about 2 laps before that, coming off of turn 2, Tony got off the corner high, hit the wall, and again lost valuable spot. Now he's all the way back up in the second, so he's actually gone through the pack twice just to get where he's at.
You can see the damage right there that Bill was talking about on the right side of that truck. He flattened that side out, but apparently didn't hurt the running gear whatsoever.
Updating you on garage area news. If you're a Toby Butler fan, he is returning to the racetrack now, 34 laps down. But as he comes back, they are pushing Bob Keselowski's truck back up the pit lane, heading to the garage area. So the veteran from Rochester, Michigan, is not going to be able to post another outstanding finish here. He's had 3 successive top 6 finishes this season, but there you see Keselowski's truck at the head end of the pit lane being pushed back towards the garage area. Chris Morgan from Santa Barbara, California, the chief starter for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Wayne Aughton is the series director. He's from Hickory, North Carolina. Kip Childress from Winston-Salem. He is the Pace Truck driver. As we get set to go back to green here, lap 101 of 200.
And you can see the number 98 truck of Kenny Irwin Jr. has been, he's pulling up alongside of all of the trucks in front of him. I think it's because he's, I don't know what he's doing right now. If he's going to try to come back in the pit.
He's 1 lap down right now. I think what he's trying to do is get ahead of the 88. He's a little bit faster truck and try to get back in the lead lap, the tail end of the lead lap. That's what he's trying to do right at the moment.
Yeah, all the other trucks that he had passed coming down to the inside lane were more than 1 lap down. But it doesn't look like the officials agree with him.
Kenny Irwin at this point being shown at lap number 100, everybody else at lap 101, as he was trying to move up to position himself, but he will have to settle in right behind the 88 of Terry Cook, the driver we had talked about earlier from Sandusky, Ohio, who has the PBA sponsorship on board his truck here today. Just joining us, we are working the 6th caution of the afternoon. Tony Raines has led today for 56 laps. Kenny Irwin for a couple of laps. Jimmy Hensley led from 59 to 75. Rich Bickle has led since, and we are back to green flag racing.
Boy, oh boy, the 88 truck got very sideways. You see Kenny Irwin finally got by him there, but the 88 truck turned completely sideways on the front straightaway and really held that inside line up.
There is Irwin unable to get back close to the lead lap trucks, but the good battle shaping up right off the bat. Bickle the leader, Tony Raines in second. And you're riding with Raines.
You're going to see a pass to the lead if Tony Raines keeps running like he's running right at the moment. That truck looks like in turn 1 and 2 that it's 5 miles an hour faster than the lead truck right at the moment.
He comes off a corner 2 faster than anyone I've seen all day.
Races ago.
You can see right in the middle of 3 and 4, Rich pushed up, and Tony really looked on the inside.
Nose to tailgate, just a 1/10 of a second separating the two.
And that time Bickle was able to keep it down low coming off the floor. Tony had no way to make any movement.
That's hoping both of them will make a mistake right now is Kenny Irwin. He has a fast truck. He's a lap down though and would love to be back in the lead lap.
There you see the 43 truck, fourth in line, but third on the leaderboard. That's Jimmy Hensley. And Chuck Bound behind him in fifth. There's Jimmy.
You can see Kenny's definitely looking to get underneath the Pennzoil line truck of Tony Raines as they were in the middle of 3 and 4. He almost got him.
Eli, just behind them, you see Rick Corelli there. Crawford is running very well in the 14 truck. He's moved up into the fight for the lead right now. Looks very, very strong.
But this is for the lead, and give it back to Tony Raines as he takes the top spot. He led the first 56 laps today, and look at Bickle push up the banking.
Yeah, well, everyone had gone underneath him, and he had no chance to come down to the inside lane. And still, Chuck Brown almost closed the door on him.
If you're a Jay Sauter fan, he has returned to the racetrack 43 laps down. So Jay is back. So too is Toby Butler. Only Stacy Compton and Keselowski in the garage. There is Jay Sauter. To the pits, Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, we're still in Tony Raines' pit, and they're all nodding their heads, shaking their heads like now. This is where we're supposed to be. As Bill Venturini and I pointed out, he's come through the field twice. He has taken the lead again, and right now, there doesn't seem to be anybody that has anything for him, with the exception of Kenny Irwin. Kenny went by Rich Bickle at the same time that Tony did. He's able to run right with him. But remember, he is a lap down. He's got to pass him and then come all the way around, pass him again. I'm not sure that can happen.
Tony Raines showing the way as we work just past the halfway point. 111 of 200 laps complete. 115 laps on the board. There's Jimmy Hensley now in second. Rich Bickle is running in third. Tony Raines, however, is the race leader. He is pulled away by 1 2/10 from that truck right there. And there's your second and third place battle that we were talking about, with Chuck Bound now running in fourth. Up front, Kenny Irwin trying to get around Raines to pick up one of the laps. Hasn't been able to do any more with Raines than he was trying with Bickle earlier.
Eli is beating on his shoulders. Irwin has gotten all the way up under. As you see off the corner here, he's got a very, very fast truck. As they come down the straightaway, you only hope that the truck on the outside sees it, because they're so close if they touch it, spin him out.
It was close going into one. Tony, again, closed the door on Kenny Irwin, but Kenny's getting through 3 and 4 much better. As you can see right here, he's looking underneath him again.
And that is not for the lead, but indeed to get back on the tail end of the lead lap as the folks at Napa bring you that scoring rundown across the top of the screen. Napa, we keep America running.
Eli, the question there, people at home would say, why wouldn't he just let him go on since he's a lap down? But you can see he's equal to him, and they have to race like that to keep him back. If you keep that truck down the lap, you don't have to worry about him at the end.
Yeah, like me and Buddy were talking during the break, the Kenny Irwin truck is just as fast as Tony Raines, and if he gets back on the lead lap, he's got a good shot of coming back around and challenging for the wood.
Of course, we still have, as you can see, 80 laps to go, but you got a Dodge in first, a Dodge in second. Dodge has never won on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, so they're trying to set that up here this afternoon.
Well, that's a tribute to their whole program. I know they've been working hard at it for 2 years, and finally maybe they'll benefit from the fruits of all their labor.
Eli, last year, Steve Park drove that 18 truck in New Hampshire and almost pulled the win off there with it. Had a very good top 10 run all day long. Look at this. Kenny Irwin gets his lap back.
Gets his lap back.
Tail end of the lead lap. You know, Glenn, I think one of the big stories in this resurgence of Dodge, if you will, is that not that long ago, they might have been 40 or 50 horsepower down to everybody else, but their engine program has really come along here in the last couple, 3 weeks, really.
Long way, and the thing that Bob Keselowski told me that has really helped that, they're working on some new cylinder heads and some new engine blocks. These engine blocks that they're running now are basically the same engine blocks that Richard Petty and the Dodge guys ran back in the 70s. They've had to use the old molds, the old foundry, to build new blocks, and they're now starting to get those, so they're able to do a little bit more R&D to the to the engines now to find out what makes them go a little bit faster. So if today is any indication, boy, Dodge might have something for these guys for the rest of this year. They're only giving away about 15 horsepower now on a short track like this. If you're hooked up through the corners, you can do without that.
The best Dodge finish of the year, if you're curious, was Michael Dawkins' third-place finish last race at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. Now let's see how they deal with this traffic.
Well, first of all, you could fool me that they're giving up 15 horsepower to anybody today because they're not showing it.
Well,
this kind of a track might play into that.
Just as you said at the start of the show today, one thing you can't do is use all the power you have. You have to be very, very careful back on the throttle, and also you probably can't use a real powerful motor at all times around the speedway.
The leader, Tony Raines, in traffic. There's second place, Jimmy Hensley. Traffic. That's Becky Hensley right there in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, the school teacher in Ridgeway, Virginia. She's been at Jimmy's side forever.
Yeah, our wife's always like that nervous in the pits. I've never noticed.
I'm sure Kathy was never nervous when you were racing, huh?
She should have been.
Good line.
She was too busy yelling at me on the headset.
Becky Hensley is a nice, nice lady. What a wonderful family they've got. 131 laps of 200 on the board. Tony Raines and the Pennzoil colors still showing the way. Seventh time today, Tammy Jo Kirk has taken a hard hit into the wall. We were clearly able to see her moving around inside the lovable truck. But she took a hard hit going up the banking, and we'll try and take a look at it and see how best we can show you what transpired. Just look ahead, sideways, and a hard hit.
Boy, you could see the truck fly up in the air when she hit the wall there. Very, very hard.
Remember, we had documented earlier in the day how they extended that wall from that middle portion upwards after the problems that Bob Keselowski's truck had here a year ago, and it obviously did its job here this afternoon. Tammy Jo Kirk with the 7th caution of the afternoon. Again, we did see her clearly moving around in the truck. The crew's still working there, but we saw her take off the helmet, not take her gloves off. So Tammy Jo Kirk apparently done for the afternoon. She's had, well, there she is climbing out right now, and she's had some tough luck here. Had that super run going in Portland a few weeks ago, and then got tangled up with Joe Ruttman very late in the day. But she's obviously doing just fine. I say.
Well, yeah, you're as fine as you can do after wrecking your truck. I'm wondering if we can tell if she actually got down in the flat going into one. That's what it almost looked like when she was going into the corner. It doesn't look like anybody really hit her, but she might have got that left front tire back down on the flat again like had happened earlier. Not with her, but with another truck.
It's been a problem for a lot of guys here, and ladies potentially.
Well, the transition between the apron and the racetrack it's flat on the apron here, where a lot of the tracks that we run on, when you got a high bank, and the transition on the apron is still a little banky. Even though you make the transition from the apron to the racetrack, here it's pretty well flat, and you just go right into the banking.
You saw Kenny Irwin right there. Did manage to get back on the lead lap, was in position to stay ahead of Raines, but now comes down to the attention of the crew. One thing is probably for sure, they used up those Goodyear Eagles on the Irwin truck trying to get around the race leader.
Eli, it looks like they're applying tape to the nose of the truck to maybe get a little more downforce in the corner. It might be pushing just a little bit on it.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
That's exactly right, guys. They've got just a little bit of a chassis adjustment they wanted to make on it. Right now, their biggest concern is that not only did they use the tires up, but also used the brakes up in getting by. He ran the truck pretty hard, got the brakes real hot, running a lot of temperature in them right now. They're trying to get those cooled down. They feel like they got a truck that can get back to the top 5. He's got a lot of traffic to come through. He's going to need those brakes, so that's their main concern right now.
And if you're curious, you just can't change tires arbitrarily in this series. If you make a tire change without the other tire being flat, it is a 5-lap penalty. So if you go around and say, we need new tires, you're going to lose 20 laps in penalties. So that's why you didn't see a tire change, but certainly on the front you saw the taping that was done. And there's old Tammy Joe's truck. Again, here's what happened. Let's see if we can see.
We're in the Ron Hornaday truck going down the front straightaway. You can see the 3 trucks up ahead. Hard to say. The way her left front tire was, it looked like, according to the bottom white line, was that the left front was actually below the white line going into the corner. So that's why I made the comment that she probably must have just hit the apron, and that's what shot the truck back out.
Tough break for Tammy Joe. Lap number 141 of 200 here at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri.
Boy, I feel for Kenny Irwin not being able to put tires on, especially at a racetrack like this. He used up the truck pretty good to get his lap back, which he did. Now he's got to really hope that he didn't use up the tires enough where he can't get back up to the front. Boy, he would really love to come in and put on 4 tires. Then you know he'd be one of the trucks to beat. But with the way the rules are written in the truck series, which is a good rule, is you can't change the tires just because you want to. You have to have a legitimate flat tire before you can change it.
There's Tammy Jo Kirk, had a 5th place finish at this racetrack a year ago in the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series. The medics just checking her over, make sure she's okay. And the field is getting the 1 to go signal from Chris Morgan. So we're about half mile away from going back to green. 14 trucks being shown on the lead lap. Raines, Hensley, Bickle, and Bound. Butch Miller is 5th. Joe Ruttman will restart 6th. Rick Corelli in 7th. Tony Roper, still a super run. He'll restart in 8th. Rick Crawford 9th. Jack Sprague 10th. Mike Bliss will go in 11th. Boris Said still on the lead lap in 12th. Doug George, super run in 13th. And Kenny Irwin in 14th. Dave Resendiz also on the lead lap in 15th. And that's how they'll restart here at the I-70 Speedway. Boy, Raines got a great jump.
That's very important because the pathway around the racetrack is right around the bottom, and you can see Raines got about a 5-6 truck length lead there on Jimmy Hensley in 43.
There's the spread, 1st to 2nd, then a lap truck, followed by Rich Bickle in 3rd.
Kept out of trouble. I think he's been saving his tires. He's the type of driver that can. I've raced with him in the past. He's a very smooth driver, doesn't abuse the equipment, and it shows right now. Where he's running 4th, he's in 5th right now.
And Butch is a former winner here in the American Speed Association. He won here back in 1988. MCI, the official telecommunications company of NASCAR, with the scoring rundown for you now across the top of the screen. 13th place, Doug George. Good run for them. They're kind of getting a little short on the funds. Didn't know how long they'd be able to continue. They're hoping to keep things going. Chuck Bound in the 99, Butch Miller in the 20, Joe Ruttman right behind them in the 80. That is 5th, 6th, and 7th. The 26, that's Rick Beebe, not on the lead lap. He is running in 16th, first truck a lap down.
You can see Kenny Irwin in the 98 there just behind Mike Bliss. He has moved through this traffic very, very well. It looks like he had some tire left. He's moving right back into
Bliss just ahead of him in 10th in the number 2 truck.
Wow, you can see the right front smoke as he drove her hard down in the corner there. I tell you, Kenny Irwin's driving the wheels off this truck today. He has really fought his way from 2 laps down, and now he's back in the 11th spot.
If you're a Michael Dockin fan, he is back on the racetrack now. 84 laps down after being involved in an accident earlier. So Michael Dockin back on the speedway. They're riding with a 10th and 11th place battle now. This is truck in 10th with whom we are riding. Irwin behind him in 11th. The other important factor is the Cintas Rookie of the Year battle. You've got Irwin, you've got Raines, you've got Crawford, all within that top 11.
And you've got all 3 of those guys running bumper to bumper now.
Laps winding down. We're at 154 of 200. Exclusive TNN coverage of the Western Auto Parts America 200 is brought to you by the more than 1,550 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Winding down towards the finish, we're at lap 162 of 200. Tony Raines continues to lead. Jimmy Hensley is second. Now the battle for third. 99, Chuck Bound inside of Bickles, 17.
See Chuck on the bottom side there.
Have problems. Main straightaway. Kenny Irwin spins. Kenny Irwin has just spun here on the main straightaway, and caution is on the speedway. That's a heartbreaker. That's a heartbreaker for a guy who has battled so much today, and down a lap he goes.
He worked so hard today to get back those laps that he was down, and now he's back down one more lap.
So Kenny Irwin spun coming off the corner. Let's take a look at what happened, guys.
See Kenny Irwin hard into the side of Bliss there. You see the back of the truck getting away from him. That's just going in there making very light contact, but it spins the truck around. Too bad for Kenny Irwin. He's tried so hard today.
Again, as you see right in the center of the corner, that left front tire just got that down on the apron, got the truck to wiggle, and I'm sure with Mike Bliss on the outside, took a little air off of the back spoiler, and away he went.
Well, right now, it's Dodge first and second, a Ford third, and a Chevrolet in fourth. Dodge has never, ever won on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. They have had 3 second-place finishes. Dennis Setzer did it once. Jimmy Hensley did it once. Rich Bickle once last year finished second. Dodge has never won in this series history.
Well, we got a strong chance today, I'll guarantee you. Tony Raines has drove that truck very, very hard. You can see damage on the right side from an incident that happened very early in the race, but it certainly didn't hurt the way that truck's performing.
Rich Bickle is now running in the 4th spot, Glenn Jowett. Any concern down there? What are they saying?
Well, let's find out. Let's ask his crew chief, Dave McCarty. Dave, you've fallen from 1st to 4th in this segment. Is there anything wrong with the truck?
Well, we made some air pressure changes here at the halftime, and I don't think we went the right way. Right now, we're just biding what we got with a die-hard Chevy, and we're just doing the best we can. I believe with Rich's experience, he might be able to get some of them back, but I don't think we have anything for the 19 today.
It doesn't look like that anybody has anything of the night for the 19 or the 43. Guys, just one more thing about those Dodges. You know, we talked about how much horsepower they've been giving away, and they have had to work so hard on their chassis just to try and keep up. And I just feel like that they have worked so hard on their chassis, maybe harder than anybody else, that they've got them absolutely perfect. At least they do here today.
And there you see Rich Bickle as he tries to get back into the hunt. Tony Raines, along with Butch Miller and Brian Refner, former American Speed Association champions, on the racetrack here today. 8 caution flags already today for 39 laps. We also have the red flag period for 39 minutes due to rain earlier this set to go back to green.
Tony Raines has to feel like this 98's a part of his truck. Every restart today, he's been on the inside of him trying to get a lap back.
And he doesn't. He doesn't. Can he stay there, though? Kenny Irwin back on the tail end of the lead lap. Stacy Compton is back on the racetrack. You just saw them going around a slow truck. That is Stacy Compton as Troy Selberg and the crew getting him back on the speedway after problems earlier at lap number 66. He'll be 103 laps down, but they're back out there.
Side-by-side racing back in the field there. We're looking back from our leader, Tony Raines, as he goes down the back straightaway and into turn 3.
Less than 30 laps to go. Can't save anything. Bound in the Exide truck third. Bickle is fourth. There you see Hensley in second, just ahead of Chuck Bound.
Eli, you could see smoke. Rick Beebe coasting back to the pits. Looked like an engine expired on that truck as he was going down through the middle of turn 2.
Lap 172 of 200. That is second and third place on the screen now. Bickle right behind in fourth. And that yellow Pennzoil truck just ahead is Tony Raines. Now we'll take you back to fifth place. Butch Miller right there in fifth. Joe Ruttman in the 80. He's running in sixth. Corelli in the Remax truck. He's seventh.
Eli, you have to wonder whether Kenny Irwin may be hurting Tony Raines a little bit right now. He's just in front of him. He is back in the lead lap, but they're closing in. Second, third, and fourth trucks are closing in on Tony Raines now.
We're staying with fifth place, Butch Miller. The Walker Evans team. And there's Joe Ruttman for Jack Roush. Up front, Jimmy Hensley. Middle of your screen to the left. That yellow truck, that is Raines.
Just like Buddy had mentioned a few laps ago, it looks like the Kenny Irwin truck is actually holding up Tony Raines, and all the other trucks are now closing in on him.
Jimmy Hensley's loving it. He pulled it down to about a 5-truck left lead now as they head down the back straightaway.
There's the interval, just at a half second.
You can see that Tony Raines is looking all over Kenny Irwin's bumper, trying to figure out how to get by him.
Glenn Jarrett, it's getting tight.
Yes, it is, guys, and I'm standing down here at the entrance to turn 1, and that's where it seems that Kenny Irwin is really holding up Tony Raines. Tony gets a good run coming off of 4, and he can't drive down in the corner as hard as he wants to because Irwin's right there in front of him. He's really definitely changed his pattern. It really seems to have upset Tony's rhythm as to how he was getting around the racetrack, and boy, it has really put the rest of the field on Tony's back bumper.
Back now with Raines, who has led 129 of the 181 laps thus far. He's been dominant and is trying to become only the second rookie in series history to win a race. Kenny Irwin did it earlier this year at Homestead, Florida.
Right now, Raines is probably going to put the bumper to him. I would have already tapped and got his attention by now. Of course, I was not one to wait a great deal of time, but as you can see, the first 5 cars are bumper to bumper right now, and I tell you, Raines has to do something pretty quick here.
What I like is you got a rookie against the veteran here, too. The rookie Raines and the many-year veteran Jimmy Hensley, and you got Chuck Bound and Bickle all right there. One bobble, and this whole deal can change.
And while they're doing this, Butch Miller, Joe Ruttman, all the trucks are coming nose to tail right now, so we got a real shootout here for the last part of this race.
There you see the intervals now across the top of the screen, along with the rundown. What, 1 and 4/10 seconds from first back to Butch Miller in fifth. Beebe and Dan Press taking their respective trucks to the garage as the attrition list grows, now with 19 laps remaining.
So you want to be a driver, do you? I guarantee you Raines right now is thinking, maybe I ought to try that outside. No, I'm going to wait for him to make a mistake. And you see Kenny Irwin getting very loose out of turn 4 there.
The only thing that's helping Tony Raines right now is that Jimmy Hensley hasn't been able to make a move on him. But I'm sure if Jimmy Hensley starts to push the issue, then Tony Raines has got to do something with Kenny Irwin. He just can't sit back there and ride behind him.
And again, remember that Raines, although he is a rookie in this series, has more miles on this track than does Jimmy Hensley because of his time in the American Speed Association, which runs here on a regular basis.
Yeah, that was an interesting shot. You can see how much faster Tony Raines was than Kenny Irwin just getting in the corner. Now they're right against each other as they head down the front stretch.
Around Lonnie Rush they go again.
The Raines pulls right up on the tailgate through the corner, down the straightaway. Kenny Irwin's truck is very strong, but watch when he gets the corner here. He'll run directly up on him as they start off the turn.
Of course, Dodge also has a bonus on the line for the first Dodge driver to win, and it would be, if I'm not mistaken, the first Dodge victory in NASCAR in about 20 years. And there is a Dodge Ram truck as a bonus on the line for the first Dodge team member to win a NASCAR Touring Series race. The last Dodge win, Larry Caudle in the Goodies Dash Series. That was back in 1995, but of the major Touring Series, with no disrespect to the Goodies Dash, it's been about 20 years. 10 laps to go.
You see Kenny Irwin getting a little wide there. Looks like Raines is going to make the pass.
Tony's finally been able to put the move on.
You guys know who won the last NASCAR Winston Cup race in a Dodge?
Who?
Our former broadcasting buddy, the late Neil Bonnet, won in Ontario, California, November 20, 1977, driving that old number 5 Jim Stacy Dodge. Remember that car?
I sure do. Harry Hyde was the wrench turner on that particular car.
Chuck Bound there in third, Bickle in fourth. Around Sedgwick, and Raines went wide, and I thought Jimmy Hensley was going to try him on the inside.
Hensley had a great run going down into turn 3, but I tell you, Tony Raines looks like he could put that truck anywhere he wants to and make up ground. If he loses a little bit, he just drives a different line around the racetrack and picks up the ground that he lost.
Yeah, if he gets a little looser or push in the middle of the corner, he comes off the corner so much stronger than everyone else. And like I said, when he can make it up, just if he gets a little out of the groove, he'll make it up coming off the corner.
The nice part about that truck, you watch it in the corner, when he turns it to the left, he can hang right on the white line. That's very, very important. You see, he's right on the bottom of the racetrack.
Tony Raines. It's only been 5 years since his first major racing victory. Posted a win in Canada back in 1992. And there's second place runner Jimmy Hensley. Some big-time emotion in Victory Lane when this one takes the checkers.
I wonder if he's got somebody to drive a truck on for him, because it looks like he's going to win one right here. Tony Raines has drove an outstanding race. Got wrecked right at the first part, hit the wall very hard, but look at that truck handle around the bottom part of this racetrack.
The truck is just handling beautiful. When you have a truck like this, it kind of makes you as a driver look pretty good, too.
To the stripe, white flag being displayed. Tony Raines and Jimmy Hensley. Couple of Dodges, first and second. but Tony Raines will become the second rookie to win on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He takes the checkered flag for Kurt Roehrig and Dodge. Glenn Jarrett.
Right now, Kurt Roehrig and Bob Hustler, the crew chief, are embraced up on top of the war wagon here. Bob, come here a second, buddy. Congratulations. What a great job you guys did in preparing that truck. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good today. The Pennzoil Dodge really hung in there. We knew we had it at first, and we got stuck up behind lap traffic, but came through at the end. That's what counts.
Well, we're going to let them celebrate. We'll go to victory lane and talk to Tony Raines, but what a great performance these guys did in giving Dodge that first victory.
And they win the Plasticoat Winning Finish Award for Bob Hustler, the official spray paint of NASCAR. Proud to sponsor the Winning Finish Award. Going to that Pennzoil team, Plasticoat presenting $1,000 to the crew chief of that NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series team. So our congratulations to Bob Hustler, Kurt Roehrig, Tony Raines. We are heading to what will be a jubilant victory lane as soon as we come back. There is Tony Raines climbing out of that Pennzoil Dodge truck to the cheers of the crowd. Let us go down now to the General Motors victory lane, brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Glenn?
Well, Tony Raines getting congratulations from all the crew. Bob Wilderberger, who heads up Dodge Motorsports. Tony, I know you've got a lot of experience on this racetrack. Man, what an awesome performance that was.
I tell you, it was easy for me. I tell you, this truck, Roehrig and my crew, they did an awesome job. I like to say hi to my wife and my family back in Indiana. I wish you were here because last 2 weeks have been awesome for me. I'm still tingling. I can't hardly believe it. First win for Dodge. Pennzoil, I tell you, this is unreal. I'm going to be reeling for a week.
You got any idea what all this pays you today? You get a new truck, you get winning, you get a bonus from Dodge. There's a huge trophy for you over there. A lot of stuff for that first Dodge victory.
It sure does. It pays a lot more than that first half of that race, let me tell you. I got a little upset there. I run a little hard, and the truck was a little better in the first half than it was the second half. I think I earned my keep there in the second half, but this is a heck of a lot of fun, and I don't know. I don't know if I can get much better than this, but we're going to try.
Well, congratulations again to Tony Raines, Kurt Roehrig, Bob Hustler, Bob Wilderberger with Dodge, all the people down here. Man, they are going to celebrate big time, Eli.
And deservedly so. And also a tip of the hat to our Mopar high performer of the event, Butch Miller, who started in 29th, came home in 5th today, and he takes home the Mopar High Performer of the Race Award, brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. Tony Raines, the 6th different winner in 7 races this season, and the 14th different winner in 51 series events. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Western Auto Parts America 200 has been brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. Let's take a look at the unofficial results. Couple of Dodges showing the way, then a Ford and a Chevrolet truck in your top 4. There you see, great run again for Tony Roper, as we mentioned earlier. And Jack Sprague, not really a factor today, coming home in the 10th spot. On down the line, good run for Doug George. Boris Shed, a super finish. New daddy Dave Rezendes there. Brian Ruffner, after the early spin, champions home in 20th spot. And then taking you even further back, there you see Ken Allen. Ron Hornaday, he lost 1 spot in the points to 5th, and that's the only change in the top 5. Stacy Compton comes home there in 30th, some 103 laps down. Tammy Jo Kirk right there in the middle, 25th spot after her accident. Jay Sauter, and the first out of the event was Mike Cope. A lot of smiles for Tony Raines. He was just a happy man today, and it's got to be nice when you got a truck that'll work like that one.
It worked all day, Eli, and the nice part about it, he drove the truck after it had a wreck and it really flattened the side out. He drove it back and did a nice job all day long.
Bill Venturini, good to have you alongside.
Well, glad to be here. As we said, Tony's truck was the only truck that seemed to be able to pass anyone on the outside today, and it showed by the win.
Don't forget, next weekend, the trucks in Loudon, New Hampshire, NASCAR Winston Cup and Busch Series racing from Dover Downs, all right here on TNN Motorsports. For Buddy Baker, Bill Venturini, and Glenn Jarrett, I'm Eli Gold. Thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations to that man, Tony Raines, winning for Dodge here in Odessa, Missouri. So long, everybody.